key areas to look at. And welcome again to our program, and let's take a look at how we prolong the lifespan of the bell tower. And this bell tower is a iconic building of the Xi'an city. It's also located at the very center of the city. And to just show you, and if I'm the very center of a circle, then if you go to the different diameters, directions of the center of the circle, you will go to the West Street, North Street, and East Street of the city. So the bell tower is located right at the very center of the city. So this is about the geological location, and let me also brief you about the contents of this program. And so this is the first renovation of this bell tower in 25 years. And the gentleman standing beside me is Mr. He Lian, an expert in the renovation for national heritage sites. Mr. He, please say hello to our viewers. Hi, good afternoon, dear viewers. So with Mr. He, we can have him answer all the questions that we might have about this renovation. So as you see right now, we are standing right in front of the bell tower. The bell tower is surrounded or wrapped up with those scaffolds. And let me bring some graphic boards to give you some introductions. The bell tower is a significant building among the citizens in Xi'an, and the renovation lasts from June the 10th all the way to August. So you may have seen this photo from online, and at the time people were saying online that the bell tower is covered by a renovation scheme. So what does that mean? So we basically surrounded and wrapped up this building, and you can still see this light. And actually from the different corners of the bell tower, we have light. We have beams of light that are projected on the surface of the bell tower, and so a lot of the tourists, they believe that this is very spectacular, and they just, the tourists, they just post this photo on the internet, and so they tell the audience of the whole country that this bell tower is in renovation. And now let's take a look at the second photo. This is an ID photo of the bell tower. Just like the ID of each and every one of us. And maybe Mr. He, can you give us some introduction? So the bell tower was built in 1384 in the 17th year of the Hongwu Emperor of Ming Dynasty. It is now 636 years old. It has a total height of 36 meters. And its location is in Xi'an. And this 36 meters of height ranges from the ground to the very tallest point of the bell tower. So we have just told you the position of the bell tower in the heart of Xi'an. And maybe Mr. He, can you tell us the position of this bell tower amongst all the ancient buildings in China? So the bell tower is among one of the best preserved bell towers across the country. It is also the most sophisticated bell tower. So as is illustrated by our expert, the bell tower enjoys a very significant position amongst all the bell towers in China. And this is also the first renovation of the bell tower in 25 years. And Mr. He is going to give us more detailed introduction later in the program. And we have another photo here. So after the founding of the People's Republic of China, the bell tower has gone through a couple of physical examinations. So in 1953, the first renovation was made on the bell tower. Then in 1958, another renovation. Then in 1996, we have renovated the outer wall of the bell tower, and we repainted the bell tower, and we have intensified or consolidated the bell tower. And in 2011, we conducted another maintenance and renovation to the bell tower. So 2020, after 9 years later, after 2011, we are conducting another renovation to the bell tower. So can you give us some introduction about what are the main areas that we're going to focus on this time? So for this time, we're going to focus on the roofs of the bell tower. So may I ask our cameraman to focus on the very top of the bell tower? So this is the top of the bell tower. The first floor is just a foundation, and the bell tower has altogether 3 floors, and we're going to take you on a tour about the gold plating efforts of the renovation. And I have at my hand a box here, and so you can maybe take a guess what material we are using to plate the very top of the bell tower. Stay tuned, and we'll let you know at the very end of the program. And now may I invite all the viewers to take a tour with our experts, and let's step up this bell tower. So the bell tower is located in a very convenient place from a traffic perspective, and it's also a must-go place for all the tourists traveling into the city. And right now, the bell tower is closed for renovation purposes, and when entering the renovation site, we have to put on the safety helmet. All right. Let's start the tour. So we are taking the steps up, and maybe Mr. He can give us more introduction. And the bell tower was built in 1854. We just gave you a very brief introduction of the bell tower, and we told our audience that the bell tower stands very close to the drum tower, and we are located at the very center of the city. And right over there is the drum tower. So both the drum tower and the bell tower are located at the very central axis of the city. So this renovation, I believe, is a huge project. So after renovating to this place, so what historic position this building has? So this is a public building of the city, and it's a tourist attraction. It's also a national heritage site. And the bell tower is also a clock of the city, and since it's called Bell Tower, it has the bell for
老
sure.
师给我们介绍一下这个景云钟。
这个景云钟是铸造于这个唐睿宗景云2年，就是公元711年。这个
And this bell is called the
当时是放在这个长朝
Jingyun Bell.
冠。明代初年的时候移到钟楼上作为报时用。民国时期是放在了西安的这个亮宝楼里边作为这个展览。
So this bell was built in commemoration of a figure that was born in 711
但我们此时
AC.
看到的这座钟其实不是真正的景云钟，对吗？
对，它是后来复制。
In 1953, it was relocated to this place, and originally it was kept at the Xi'an History Museum. So you're telling me that this is not the original bell tower? This is not the original bell?
达6吨。它这个钟身的这个外边雕刻了很多的，铸造了很多的这个纹饰，有这个飞天。
It has a diameter of 4.82 meters, and it weighs 6 tons.
四周还有这个祥云。
On the surface, you can see a lot of different inscriptions. We have a flying bird. We have dragons
在
and
周
clouds.
围这些脚手架挡着。
它这个铭文是292字，是由唐睿宗李旦亲笔。
At the bottom, we have inscriptions from
皇帝亲自
ancient works.
来撰文，应该不多见吧？
就在这是现存
The inscriptions have altogether 92 words, and it was a work from a Tang emperor.
那作为替身来说的话，它是跟它的这个景云钟是1比1的，是完完全全一样的。
完完全全一样。
So this is quite rare, correct? Yes, and this is the only
这个
bell with the inscriptions written personally by the
是
emperor.
游客这样可以触摸吗？
这是可以的。
因为作为它
So at this direction of the Jingyun Bell,
常上来那拍照可以，因为现在应该是不能去撞它。
不能去撞它。
但是据我所了解，这个哪怕是景云钟的这个替
so you
身
can actually oversee the Museum of History
作为
in
它是
Xi'an.
因为它的这个铸造工艺很复杂，然后呢雕刻也很精美，然后它是而且这个又是作为这个曾经作为它的终身录音，曾作为央视春晚的这个新年倒计时的这个进行了播放。
啊，每年的这个春晚到12点辞旧迎新的时候，那个10、9、8、7、6、5、4、3、2、1那个倒计时，就来自于咱们景云钟的这个替身。
替身是的，是这样的，
所以
它声名远。
仅仅是替身都不可小觑，可以说是声名远扬了。
是的。
好。好，我们先告别一下景云钟的替身。我们现在已经来到了这个钟楼的基座，对吧？
对，我们现在站的这个位置是钟楼的基座的地平。然后从这儿就可以进到了这个钟楼上边的这个木楼阁的里边。
现在因为它的四周搭着这个脚手架，如果是对外开放正常的情况下，是游客从台阶上来之后观赏完，
从这儿可以爬台阶进去参观。
从这儿可以来大厅。
是这样的。我们现在看到这个钟楼有几个很
On the ceiling,
特点，一个是它的斗拱，斗拱就是屋檐下的斗拱，这是钟楼很有特点。
so they go like a flyover the different beams of the ceiling, and they exert great support to the building. And you can also take a look at the wooden inscriptions at different parts, and for example on a door, and we have altogether 64 paintings on the wall at the 2 floors, and those inscriptions, they originated from ancient legend and also
这次的修缮有没有涉及到咱们这
ancient stories, and you can take a look at the ceilings. And are they part of the renovation effort? No, not for this time. And the colorful paintings at the ceiling was completed in 1953, and today's year it has a history of 67 years. And for this renovation, we're not going to cover the maintenance of the ceilings. So, dear viewers, what you now see is a result of the painting effort from 1953. And right now, up until this point of time, it still looks very magnificent, and it's very well preserved. And you can see that the color hasn't lost, and you can imagine what craftsmanship we had 67 years ago in terms of the raw materials and the different colors that we chose. And so the preservation of heritage sites is very important, and we attach great importance to this aspect.
那么，如果是这个钟楼的来观赏的游客呢，您可以从这个一楼进入到一楼大厅之后，在那个红色的柱子旁边，它会有一个室内的一个悬梯楼梯。
So, beside the column, there is actually a stairway which leads you to the second floor. Because we are right now at the final stage of the renovation, and we can bring you on a tour at this bell tower. Mr. He can tell us a lot of details of this renovation work.
600多年历史的钟楼之上，感受着历史的沉重。那么，在我们耳边又是现代化的这样的车流声，所以你会感受到。
So one of the key principles we follow in renovation is minimum intervention, and so the bell tower is the place where the past meets present, and we are climbing up the scaffolds, and let's take it slow. The scaffolds are very important in all the renovation work, and it can give us a lot of support, so we don't need to actually use the structure of the building itself. So this is the rafters of the roof, and so for this part, it has already been well maintained and renovated. So this looks fresh new, and they are in different patterns and shapes. So you can take a look at the different colors that we adopt here. And some of the gold color looked very original and old, and those rafters, we haven't changed them, but we changed some of those that are pretty worn out. So what are the considerations behind this? So we follow the principle of minimal intervention, and wherever it is still well preserved, we leave it untouched. For those areas that are truly worn out, we have to do some maintenance. So these beams and rafters, they feel very flat. So this is the first time I have come this high. And we were amazed at how flat the surfaces are, and
个是这种做法叫砍净挠白，是这个古建筑里这个油漆彩画做的一种传统做法。它是要求啊，是用斧头要把这个外边的这个旧灰层要砍掉。这个砍的时候要注意。
Well, traditionally, those craftsmen, they used axes, and you can only chop the wood from a vertical direction, and we were using a lot of white-colored wood. Of course, there were a lot of different tools, and you have to rub the surface so that it's very smooth and flat at the surface.
大概这样理解了一下，就是以前的这些油漆彩绘，要把它用斧头一点一点把它凿下来，也不能凿得深，会伤害到咱们文物；也不能凿得太浅，以前的这些残余的这些油绘要把它凿干净。所以它考验的是工匠的手上功夫，你一定要有轻有重，不能过轻也不能过重，是这样吧？是这样。另外您刚才说了，把后面的附着后面的彩绘颜料是吧？
是的，能牢固的粘到上边。
所以当时我们看的，我说上斧头为什么不能温柔点对我们的文物？比如说用这种砂纸，因为现在的这些做一些木匠活的时候，我们都看到。
So why don't you use this very special cloth that can rub the surface very smooth? Well, this is simply because we are protecting this very original wood, and we're using some very special tools for the purpose of protection. And this is also a very traditional approach, and we were using the traditional carpenter skills to protect the rafters. Well, thank you very much for letting me know this very important piece of information. And now let's continue going up, and let's take a look at the roof from this angle.
好，我们继续扶梯而上，再到上面去看一看。
Be careful. So here you see a lot of tiles covering the roof, and are we covering the tiles in this maintenance? So if there are some tiles that are pretty worn out, if some of the tiles have lost their color, and then we won't touch them, and so still we adopt this principle of minimal intervention. All right, let's continue. So I would like to tell our viewers that today marks actually the final day of the renovation work, and tomorrow we're gonna invite the officials from Heritage Protection Authorities to conduct a final verification of the project, and let's see whether this renovation job can pass the examination, and if it does, it will soon be open to the public. So what you'll now see is the rafters and the ridges of the roof, and also the tiles. So are those new tiles? Well, yes, we have changed some of the tiles, but most of them we left them untouched. So what are the measures that you look in the renovation? So we mainly look at whether the tile has lost its color, whether it has been worn out, whether it has some damages that are pretty visible. All right, we are now on top of the bell tower, and we can see that our maintenance workers, they are working on the roofs, and they are cleaning the tiles. So we are now at the very top of the bell tower, and if you look up a little bit, and this is the very golden point of the bell tower, and so this is one of the key part of this renovation effort. Yes, this is very important, because we're going to plate gold on the top of the bell tower, and this is one highlight of this maintenance. So at the ground we used those different paper boards, and we told our audience that the previous renovation was conducted in 1996, and so now after 25 years, we are plating gold to the very top of the bell tower, and which has already completed actually, and this is a challenge to the craftsmanship and all the skills. And now may I ask our technician to play a clip about the gold plating renovation effort which was conducted a couple of days ago. Alright, dear viewers, what you now see on the screen is the renovation effort in July, and this is the gold plating process. And Mr. He, maybe can you introduce to us what are the precautions that we have to take? So gold plating is one very important process in the maintenance of ancient buildings. First and foremost, you need to do some cleaning, and you need to remove the dirty stuff. Let me first tell you the structure of this very point and top point of the bell tower. It's actually hollow, and it's made of wood, and then it's covered by a bronze layer, and then at the very outside we plate gold on it. We're actually using gold foil. So to plate gold on it, we have to first, we need to scrape the existing layer. Yes, we have to clean it very thoroughly, and then we have to maintain the bronze layer, and then we rub it to make it very smooth, and then we do some foundation layers, and then you rub it again, and then you make it very smooth and very clean. And it is only at this process that you can attach the gold foil on the surface. Each time you attach gold foils on the surface, you have to be very precautious about the amount of gold foil that you use, and you cannot simply bring a whole piece of gold foil and attach the foil to the surface with glue. So you need to be very precautious about the amount of the gold foil, and it has to be completed within 3 hours, otherwise it won't work. So which means that our craftsmen, they have to be very experienced and skilled. Yes, exactly. And you also have to take into consideration the weather. When it is when there is a lot of heat and a lot of wind, then you might as well choose to delay the effort, and because the wind may blow away the gold foil, and you need to select the best timing and the best weather, and you need to make sure that the different adjacent parts are well tailored, and the different pieces of gold foil has to be connected seamlessly. So this is just like a lady that is about to be married, and she's now sitting in her room, and she's doing makeup, one layer after another, piece by piece, exactly. So after the plating of the gold foil, do we need to brush something on the surface? So when we do the gold plating, we don't need to brush anything on the surface, because the gold layer is just gold, and there's nothing else on the surface. All right, we have given you a lot of introduction about the gold plating. So what exactly is the gold that we are using? And as I showed you a box at the beginning of this program, so what's inside? So I'm actually holding a box of gold foil, and it was produced by Jinling Gold Foil Factory from Nanjing. And let's open the box. Now let's focus on this gold foil, and it's actually placed in between two pieces of paper. And if we remove the white paper, and you will see how glorious it is. We cannot open it because once we do, we're going to actually damage the gold foil. So this is 10 by 10 centimeters. So maybe can you take a guess? How much would it cost for this small piece of gold foil? Well, it's hard to estimate, but I can tell you that the gold plating of the bell tower use 70 grams, and we use altogether 3,800 pieces of gold foil like this. Well, it looks very thin, and when I take it out and when the wind blows, it's going to be flying in the air, and it's even thinner than your hair. So I can only let you see this much of the gold foil, and if you don't get satisfied, then you can look up to the very top point of the bell tower and see how glorious the bell tower is. And in a couple of days, this will be made open once again to the public, and it has gone through a renovation for 2 months, and if tomorrow it can pass the examination of the verification, then on August 25th, the bell tower will be open again to all the tourists. So by that time, I welcome all the tourists to make a trip to Xi'an and to enjoy the beauty of the city. All right, dear viewers, thank you very much for watching. 拜拜。
好了，央视新闻的各位网友，感谢您收看我们本次的直播，再见。